Hi there. I'd just like to start my introducing our video, but before I do that, I'd like to have a little word with you about how I see this entrepreneurship module. I was a little bit apprehensive at what I see as government-imposed educational systems on a syllabus that would previously be purely at the disposal of the lecturers. And I found it quite worrying that the government were intervening in this way in such a capitalist-like way, and with the agenda purely based on making money, and inspired by such things as Dragon's Den and, to my mind, Thatcherism. So we decided to go down a different angle, and we thought we'd try and develop something that was no use for making money and was not profitable in any way, but hopefully a little bit more beneficial towards the mind and the body, possibly even the soul. With this in mind, this is how we ended up developing our product that is unmarketable in its first instance. Thank you.
I'm Chris Killingley.
I'm Rory Fong.
I'm Will Kendall. And together we are
The Capitalists!
Hello and welcome. I'm Rory Fong and I'm here to present you with this afternoon's news. Today we will be discussing the idea of Drekly and Zen as a literary theory. My colleagues, Chris Killingley and Will Kendall and I, wanted to incorporate some of the ideas that we learned from our own course at Truro College, Applied Literary Studies. This has consisted of modules such as literary theory, the history of literature, and identity and nationhood, which includes a particular case study on Cornish identity. Being the only one in my class who is not originally from Cornwall, I was a bit hesitant at first to learn about something that I knew nothing about. A few weeks ago, however, we were lucky enough to sit in on a guest lecture by Bert Biscoe, a local poet and politician who helped make things a lot easier, not only for me, but for the entire class.
Okay. I think that when you talk about Drekly, you're talking about a kind of a discipline of accumulating a whole pile of different facts, different thoughts, different feelings and emotions, and bringing them all together in order to make a poem or a piece of creative writing, or a painting or music or whatever it happens to be. And I think that in that process, that's where the Drekly moment lies. Because when you hit the Drekly moment, what you're actually doing is finding the precise moment when all the factors that you want to encapsulate into your piece all come together into a perfect kind of juxtaposition, or as astronomers would say, an alignment. And I think that if you look around the world at different cultures, you will find that in a huge number of them there are different descriptions for the same process. And it is one of the things that distinguishes Cornish culture as being a distinctive culture, that it does have at its heart this concept, this intellectual and emotional concept of Drekly, which is identifying the perfect moment when all the factors are perfectly aligned in order to make the action, whether that's making a painting, playing a note, or writing a poem, or welding a piece of car to another piece of car. The Drekly moment is at the root of when you will achieve the best possible outcome.
Bert Biscoe was actually the person who introduced us to the term Drekly and inspired us to make this presentation. From what we have gathered from Bert Biscoe and our own findings, we have discovered that the Cornish word Drekly derives from the English word directly. Online sources have defined the term Drekly as being the following: at an unspecified time, ranging from straight away to a short or long time in the future, but it will at some point have been done. An example of using the word Drekly would be, I will do it directly. This t-shirt shows that the idea of Drekly has developed in the modern society as it is prevalent in the Cornish identity and in turn embedded in the British national consciousness. Many people claim that the phrase may have originated from waiting for the correct weather conditions for boats to go out to sea. Bert Biscoe further explained that the term Drekly can be compared to Zen, a Buddhist doctrine that enlightenment can be attained through direct intuitive insight. Now let me pass you over to Will Kendall, who will explain to you how the term Drekly can be applied to some of William Shakespeare's work during the Elizabethan period.
Thank you, Rory. So going on what we've learned so far, to recap, we decided we didn't want to make any money from this. We learned that Bert has said that Drekly is a concept that applies to the whole idea of writing things, and we've learned about what modules we've had so far. So with all this in mind, we wanted to take this idea further and try and apply this Drekly Zen literary theory to some Elizabethan texts. But not everyone is overly familiar with the Elizabethan texts, so we decided to try and make this more accessible and more easily understood by Joe Public. And for this reason alone, we chose Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, perhaps one of Shakespeare's famousest works reinterpreted by a modern day director. I think this clip we're about to show you best represents how Shakespeare might have been using similar ideas as the ones we've been talking about today within his writing abilities. And if you'd like to take a look at this and see if you can spot the essence of Drekly Zen within this clip, and if not, we'll have a little talk about it afterwards anyway. Thank you very much.
Love, my wife, death that hath sucked the honey of thy breath hath had no power yet upon thy beauty. Thou art not conquered. Beauty's ensign yet is crimson in thy lips and in thy cheeks, and death's pale flag is not advancing there. Seal with the righteous kiss. Dateless bargain to engrossing death. Romeo. Here. Poison. You called and left no friendly drop to help me after. Now kiss thy lips. Place some poison yet doth hang on them. With a kiss. And died.
Now, as we can see from this clip, Shakespeare was definitely using a structuralist approach when he wrote this. The timing of the piece is imperative. Had the timing been even subtly different, the storyline would be dramatically affected, and instead of having perhaps one of the most famous tragedies, we would have had a story that seems to have a lot more happy ending, and indeed finishes on a more positive note, perhaps giving it a more moral stance. As is the case, this was not how it was to be, and Shakespeare did definitely use a Drekly Zen-like way when writing the piece. The moment is perfect in forms of tragedy, and I can think we can see this both from what Bert has said and from the research we've also shown today. Thank you. Back to you over in the studio, Rory.
We will now continue with Chris Killingley, who is going to explain how the term Drekly can be applied to the future with cryogenic freezing.
We've applied Drekly to the past and to the present, so we thought what better way to finish our presentation by using Drekly in a future sense. We decided that cryogenic freezing was a perfect representation of this. Cryogenic freezing is basically when a human decides that death is probably nearing and they don't want their life to end, that they get frozen with liquid nitrogen rather than water, because ice would damage the cells and the tissue of a human body, and then wait for the technology to be discovered for them to be successfully unfrozen, as at present they do not have this technology. Even though they don't have the technology to unfreeze the body at the moment, they believe that this freezing process would preserve the body for up to 1,000 years. If we relate this to the Drekly theory, it's obvious that we're waiting for a point in time within the next 1,000 years where the technology would be discovered to unfreeze the body and continue with life.
The anti-capitalists would just like to say thank you and wish you all a very nice day.